something that I think is really important for leaders to be viewing this as. When you create an environment, office environment that has healthy options, you're signaling to them, and you can even say it out loud, I care about you.
Yes.
And that's why I'm doing this.
Yes.
You may like the other things, but I care about you as a person and as a coworker so much that I want to provide these options for you.
Leaders get to be the example. It's such an honor and a privilege and an opportunity.
Totally.
I love being a leader in my company. I love that I get to be a great example for them. I took all my leaders out to lunch yesterday, and I had this gorgeous salad and protein and healthy fats, and it was just wonderful. And guess what? I sat at the table with all my leaders, and all of our food looked the same.
This is the Brandon Smith Show, and the entire purpose of the show is one singular thing, and that's to help you live a life that much more free from dysfunction. So our show today, it's going to be within the realm of health and wellness, but more specifically, how do you set and lead a culture of health and wellness? So when you think about, as a leader, you think about your team, you think about your group, how do you both embody those principles that you want to establish for your group, but also what does it look like? How do you live that out? So to help us on this journey, help us get healthy, I have a wonderful guest who is a returning guest, Jacynta Harb. Yay. Jacynta, so good to have you back.
I love the sequels.
It's so good to have you able to have a sequel.
I know.
That's like the best part.
It is.
And so just to make sure everyone, those folks that are new to you,
yes,
you're the CEO of Sparkle Wellness.
I am. I'm celebrating 5 years this year.
5 years?
Yes.
High five.
High five. Thanks.
High five. 5 years.
5 years.
Wow. That's exciting.
It's very exciting.
I from my experience was the first 3 years of starting my business was the tougher.
Yes.
And you get to about the 5-year point, and the wheels start to spin a little bit more, and good stuff starts to happen, which is really exciting.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about this topic because I think this is one you and I have talked about, general health and wellness.
Yes.
I'm still working on some of the.
We're all work in progress, Brandon.
Thank you. I'm feeling a little guilty. I'm feeling a little fluffy, to be honest with you.
Are you still feeling fluffy?
I am still feeling fluffy. I think I might be a little fluffier since I saw you last.
Well, you did.
Which is not good. I should be.
Well, you need to be a leader in your environment here.
Nice segue. You're exactly right. I totally do. So, we talked about it last time in terms of the individual. And we're still talking about it in terms of the individual, but I'm really curious when you think about someone now who is trying to be a role model. Okay, so she's got several managers and they've got teams below them, and people are looking up to her or looking up to him. They're like the office manager or leader or the vice president or leader of the division or whatever it happens to be. Does it change how you coach clients when they are thinking about health and wellness? Does it change how you view that?
Oh, absolutely. It changes everything. So I think
changes everything.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
All right. Tell us more about that. What is it? What are some of the things that you talk about in those arenas and we need to hone in on?
So we're referencing to being a leader of a company and you being a great example.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I think we have to understand if you are a leader in any type of role and your listeners are leaders and they're managing organizations and teams, first of all, I think they have to realize the opportunity they have to get to change other people's lives. Leaders change the world.
Get to. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You get to.
So here's the get to philosophy. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is a life hack off the bat. I mean, I'm
sorry.
like
I should be writing.
I know, you probably should write.
I'll type.
So in life, I think you have an opportunity in two ways to look at life. One's going to propel you, one's going to totally derail you. So the opportunity is you get to in life versus a have to. So when you come in life thinking, I have to do this, I have to take the kids to school, I have to do this, that is coming from a really hard place. Yeah. And it's not good for anybody around you. Yeah. When you come as a leader in your workplace and you're coming that I get to be a leader, I get to help and mold and shape my team, I get to be an example for them, right? I mean, it changes everything.
I can see the energy in you when you say it that way. And just as I was doing that, my bobbleheads all started bobbling. Yes. They were all agreeing. Absolutely. But I can see the energy. But whereas the have to, it almost feels like resentment. Like, yes. I have to do that. I'm resentful, but I have to do this.
Absolutely.
Versus getting to.
Absolutely.
Like I have to be a role model. You get to be a role model. That's kind of cool. And that is part and parcel with the leadership gig. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's people love the being put up on a pedestal as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that is more people are watching you.
So leaders have challenges, which we're going to probably talk about some challenges and nutrition in their workplace and all that. But challenges are opportunities. So it's just a shift in perspective.
So maybe that's a good starting place.
Okay.
What do you see as some of the big challenges for leaders when it comes to whether it's just lifestyle or health and wellness or anything that you see that's kind of in their way?
So I think that leaders who don't have their own personal health and wellness in order, it's harder for them to lead.
Okay.
If they're not feeling good and confident about their physical, their mental, their emotional well-being, when they're coming in to lead, that's going to be hard for them to lead from a place where they're not feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. They're trying to figure out, how do I do all those things? People hire me because they're working. My audience is your audience. My clients are your audience, shall I say. How do I make my health and wellness a priority? Because I am leading. I am responsible for teams and organizations. And I think if the leader can sit there and think for just a minute that I get to lead a team. And what if that team was productive and healthy? But it starts with me being productive and healthy.
Mm.
And so I think that's one of the challenges, that leaders are fighting that busyness, that I got to do everything. And I get home and I'm checking emails and I'm going to bed with the blue light on and I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
So good leaders should take care of themselves first.
So I'm hearing you say that it's almost both it's the role modeling, but it's also you kind of need to do it to be able to do all the things that are that you get to do, but also required to do, expected to do. And so you ended it by saying they got to take care of themselves first. Immediately, I thought of on the airplane, you got to put you have the mask down on yourself first, and then your kiddos second. It's kind of like you've got to be taking care of yourself first.
When you study all the great leaders in the country, past presidents and top people in the country, they spend hours taking care of themselves before they start leading their country, their organizations.
Yeah.
Sometimes up to 2 hours.
It's so funny that you say that too, because as you were talking, I had this flashback to a workshop I was doing this summer. It was on executive presence, and one of the individuals in the workshop, she was walking around the workshop. She was a photographer for this company, big company, and so she's one of their contract photographers that goes around and takes pictures of sessions and things like that. And we were chatting, and she said, I get to do all of this kind of cool photography. And she said, what's really interesting is all the leaders that I hear speak and I interact with, they all get up early in the morning. These are the senior leaders. They all get up early in the morning, and they either run or they swim.
Yes.
And men or women alike, doesn't matter, but they all have a morning workout routine that is either running or swimming or some kind of that version, because they've got to take care of themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, it's called, I think Tony Robbins, we can shout out him, I guess. He talks about his power hour. And he says, if you don't have an hour, 30 minutes to thrive.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a thing where I think leaders could improve on, is that morning routine. I've taught classes on your daily morning routine. And if they could get that going for them, they get to do this. They get to get up, get early, get at it. How much more productive their team would be, because their leader is so killing it right from the beginning.
This is where I'm feeling guilty right now. I'm feeling very guilty right now.
Don't choose guilt. Don't choose guilt. Choose inspiration.
Can I choose Cheetos? Can I choose something else?
If you make them yourself, you can have Cheetos.
See, here's my issue. I have such a hard time getting up and working out in the morning. My preferred workout, if I pick my perfect time, is like 11 a.m. I love that because my body's up and moving. I still have energy. Can't always do that. Most days I can't. So I typically do it at the end of the day. I do like a 4:30 workout, 4:30 to 6.
All right.
Not at my highest energy level those times, but I was channeling you, and I really and I got up early in the morning and worked out.
Today?
No.
Oh.
Just one time. Just one time since your show, but I did it once. I enjoyed it.
Okay, audience.
I know.
Let's all keep Brandon accountable for his new morning workout.
Honestly, the thing is, I can't ignore the pattern. All these really amazing people get up early in the morning.
Thank you.
I mean, I can't ignore that. And they get up early in the morning and they either use that time to meditate, to write, or work out, or all three.
Absolutely.
And I mean, yeah,
So
I guess I could break the mold, but there's something to that.
There's definitely something
So
to it.
I need to re-examine this.
So if I can self-disclose,
Okay.
because I think when you teach and you have a guest on, it's always good for them to tell stories about themselves
Okay.
for learning purposes.
I'm all about it. I just self-disclosed. But
So, I started my company 5 years ago, and here I am, this, awesome health and wellness coach, and I was not a consistent exercise. Okay.
Okay.
My whole job is to be an example. And while I was really good at the nutrition and the mind coaching and helping people transform their lives, I was not doing the exercise part.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with myself, and I told myself, how are you going to go next level on this? I was like you. My optimum time was to exercise, whenever I felt like it, and if it worked out with my schedule, and mainly if it didn't mess up my hair. So my hair was my major obstacle. We will make up excuses and obstacles, and they were real. So how am I going to be able to do my hair, exercise, go to work? How am I going to do this? So I just didn't exercise, right?
Okay.
So as I became more and more compelled to, this is part of my business. I'm an example. I can't leave this part out. Plus, it's not helping me.
Right.
Exercise is one of the premier, it's better than any antidepressant we could give ourselves. It's my happy hormones.
Right.
Right? I need that. I wasn't doing that. I have what you now call adult onset athleticism.
Adult onset. I can't decide if I want that or don't want that.
You do. You do. You want it. Touch me. It's contagious. Okay. So you want adult onset athleticism. I know your audience is in their 40s and 50s. And some of them maybe, frankly, have not been exercising. Or maybe they did when they were teens and they were stars in high school or something. And they let up on it. Why? Because everything we just talked about. They're running companies, organizations. They've got kids. They've got families. And the exercise part has been away. I decided that was going to change that. In 2017, I decided I was going to take my exercise to that next level. And it started with getting uncomfortable at 4:15 a.m. At
4:15 in the afternoon.
No.
I can do 4:15 in the afternoon.
Here's what I found out, that I had to get, get over
I can do 4:15 Pacific time.
No.
Does that count?
No, it doesn't. I decided that I was going to do, and here's how change is made.
Okay.
One class, 1 day a week.
So
at my new time.
So the class created like an accountability mechanism. Is that what that did? Like, I now got this class.
It was.
Or it could be a trainer, maybe.
It just has to be something that you typically pay for and you have to sign up for.
Yeah.
That is what works for people. Okay?
I hear you.
So I did one class, and I did it very well. And so I would go to class at 5 a.m. So I got up at 4:15, still had my time, and then I'd go to class. And I did that extremely well. That one class then turned into a second class a couple months after. I did 2 classes very well. Fast forward to 2019, I'm totally killing it. And I'm doing 5 days of consistent exercise. I want all your audience to know, and when we're making changes, it's doing one class very well. Consistency is so much better than extremes. And so that's what I focused on, one class very well, and I did that.
Okay.
So I now have adult onset athleticism.
You didn't even need a better phrase for that, Jacynta. It sounds like it's,
AOA?
I don't want that. That sounds like a really bad diagnosis. But I love that idea that consistency is better than extremes. I think that's a really important point. And just starting with consistent steps, and then moving that into a jog, and then moving into a run, whatever that means for you.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. Okay, I get that. All right, so we're rolling into break. When we come back from break, so we started on this idea of what leaders need to be doing in order to really keep themselves healthy and strong. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Then I want to pivot and start talking about, okay, really what are other ways to set a culture of healthy with your teams? because I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Because as leaders, we have a lot of decision-making authority around that, and we need to use it the right way.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned. We're going to be right back. Here's your coaching minute for the week, presented to you by the Leadership Foundry. Dysfunction in the workplace, it's a pervasive problem. Here's a simple tip to eliminate dysfunction, both in your team, but even in the environments around you. Clarify your team members' roles, goals, and responsibilities. So just spend some time thinking about, does all of my team know? Does each of them know what their role is, what the goals are of the team, and their responsibilities? If the answer is yes, you right there eliminate 50% of all the dysfunction that could come up in your team. If the answer is no, think about how you could do that better. When we don't do that, one of two things happens. Either people overlap work and they step on each other's toes, or you have one person carrying much bigger load while a couple other people are hanging out not doing near as much work. It's one of the big problems in the nonprofit world is a lack of clarity around roles, goals, and responsibilities. So focus on those three things, and I promise you, not only will you eliminate dysfunction, it's going to make your workplace that much more enjoyable. Welcome back from break, of course. This is the Brandon Smith Show. And so right before break, we were talking about health and wellness and creating a wellness culture as a leader. And Jacynta, we were talking about, you had this phrase. I'm still wrapping my head around it.
I know.
Early adult onset of athleticism. No, say it again.
Adult onset athleticism.
Adult onset athleticism.
AOA.
Adult onset athleticism. Okay. So, and you were saying this has been a huge kind of really journey and passion for you now. Like working out and exercising and having that part of your life has become a passion. Whereas in the beginning, it was not something you looked forward to, but you started those early morning routines. So there's hope for us, people like me, that are really reluctant to get up early in the morning.
There's so much hope. You know, you hear the phrase, if I can do it, anyone can do it, even you, Brandon Smith.
Even me. I don't know.
It's when you hear these stories, I literally, people who know me know that I didn't exercise. I didn't. I could walk, I'd do something here and there. I didn't. It was not part of my daily life. And now that it has become, like I love it. I'm trying to get off the wait list for my class on Saturday, and I keep checking it like a fool. I'm so excited to get into class. And that passion for my company, because your people are leaders.
Yeah.
We want them to lead by example. Guess what I'm doing? Next week on Tuesday night, I signed up to take the personal training certification classes at Kennesaw State University, 21 classes.
Nice.
My goal now is to take that excitement and passion and teach it and then be qualified. And I'm so excited. I can be your personal trainer in January.
Oh,
what do you think?
Is it at 4:15 in the morning?
No.
I'm not sure I can do 6:30.
Whatever works for you.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be great. That would be great. I think that's great. And so, you touched on something briefly in there, but I think it's an important one for us to hone in on. And then I do want to start shifting our conversation to setting even more of a culture. And maybe this is a good pivot point. So as leaders, people love being a leader. Not everybody, but for those that kind of take on that journey, they love the idea of it. And it is a wonderful opportunity. You get to do a lot of things, get to make an impact in lots of ways. But you're also being watched.
Yes.
And so I mentioned to you, I've been doing a lot of workshops on executive presence. Mm-hmm. And executive presence is one of those funny concepts. No one really has a clear definition. So, and I have some perspective, but I don't have all the answers. Okay. So I've been asking all my groups, what does it mean here to you? And I had one individual say to me that I've captured on one of my slides now, and they said, when someone has executive presence, she or he, it's like they embody the brand. We look at them and we say, oh my gosh, they're like the brand. We just see it in them. And I think that matters because, you are being watched. So you're setting a tone, and image does kind of matter. And while we appreciate lots of body types, leaders not only, I think, need to do this for their own energy, but they're also setting an example. Mm-hmm. And it's something to be aware of. People are watching you.
Absolutely.
So I want to pivot a little bit and talk about what are some ways leaders can create a culture of health and wellness in the office? Is there anything that you've seen or heard, or even that you prescribe to your clients and say, gosh, try and make this a habit with your people?
So that's a great question, and we could sit all day on this, so I'll try to be concise as possible. First of all, it's always leading by example. The leader is the one in charge of most likely ordering the food, bringing in the food, having the assistants get it. And I do believe that if we can create a place that the environment at work is safe, and what does that mean? Is eating foods that make their team even more productive.
Okay.
The foods that really do not produce anything but, low energy, brain fog, are usually the foods that cultures and organizations have for their team to eat during times when you need them to be productive. Okay? So the white flour, the white sugar products, all of that need to go away. The sodas, the drinks, those things do not help your culture, your team to be effective and productive. Also, if
are you like calling out donuts? Because I love donuts.
You can have them. They're a planned indulgence.
A planned indulgence. I like that.
You can have a donut, right? We don't believe in extremes, but here's what I would love for cultures. This is a big change. Society's shifting towards more fruits, more vegetables for their
totally true.
For their environment, for their people to have. I mean, just look at all the stores and a lot of places are having quick stuff that are healthy now. So you as the leader are bringing everything in. That environment needs to be safe. Your team is struggling. A lot of them are having health and wellness issues. A lot of them are having self-loathing, which is they don't like things about their body. And if you offer a place that has things that only propel their health and make them think better, feel better, they're going to actually produce better for you.
I love that.
And they will be absolutely grateful to have them.
I think that's so true. And I think that, so in my house, I have a 17-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, and a 12-year-old son. But the 17-year-old daughter is about to turn 18 later this year. And her generation is very sensitive to quality of food in workplaces. Very sensitive to it. And so why I'm mentioning this is as a leader, you have a choice right now to lead by example. But if you wait too long, that younger generation is going to push you.
Absolutely.
They're going to come in and say, what is this? What's all the soda here? That's not what I want in the break room. I don't want energy drinks and candy bars.
Absolutely.
I mean, every once in a while it's fine, but I want... Now, she drinks things like kombucha. And
I love kombucha.
That's disgusting stuff.
It's good. It's like slime.
That sounds so appetizing. But she really is all about health and wellness, and it really is indicative of her generation. So I think that in some ways, while we're talking about this as leaders, you really want to set the example. There is a clock ticking. If you don't move soon, the example is going to be pushed on you.
Absolutely.
Or expected of you. And so get to before you have to.
So when I get to corporate speak and they bring me in for lunch and learns, it is so fun because when I go, they have the healthiest lunch that day because I'm showing up.
So is that because you tell them what to have or because they feel pressure because you're coming and so they're like,
combination. I think it's a combination. I know when I come, it's not going to be
so
catered.
Maybe you just need to visit all these companies.
I would love to.
That'll get them healthier.
I love to. Here's what I really think is when you were talking, I'm thinking it's the get to, have to philosophy. Okay? But I think as leaders in companies, they think they have to provide unhealthy food. I think they think that, but they really don't. I think they think people want Doritos and Cheetos and Snickers and crappy food around. They think their people want that, but they don't want that. They don't have to provide that. They should see it as I get to provide healthy options for them. And I really believe that we don't have to have certain foods that are detrimental to people's health because we think they have to have them.
You know, it's hearing you saying that, it makes me think something that I think is really important for leaders to be viewing this as. When you create an environment, office environment that has healthy options, you're signaling to them, and you can even say it out loud, I care about you.
Yes.
And that's why I'm doing this.
Yes.
Now, you may like the other things, but I care about you as a person and as a coworker so much that I want to provide these options for you.
Leaders get to be the example. It's such an honor and a privilege and an opportunity.
Totally.
I love being a leader in my company. I love that I get to be a great example for them. I took all my leaders out to lunch yesterday, and I had this gorgeous salad and protein and healthy fats, and it was just wonderful. And guess what? I sat at the table with all my leaders, and all of our food looked the same. You know?
Yeah.
I'm the leader. I picked the restaurant. We all are on that same page. People sometimes will just gravitate towards this healthy food once they start. The leader gets to say that's good or not. They basically are putting a stamp of approval on that. So it will be like we're the leaders in our own home.
Yeah.
And I know you and your precious, adorable, cute wife, right? You put out the healthy
You're
stuff.
winking. I like that you're winking.
I know. Putting out the stuff that's healthy, it's going to be great. So number one key for your leaders is make sure the stuff is visible and plentiful. You know, it has to be attractive.
Yeah.
You know, and they're going to gravitate towards that. But more importantly, your team is going to be more productive. Sugar spikes your insulin. It goes up, it goes down. It makes you get that fog, 3:30. I want my team to produce.
Totally.
They're going to be non-productive if they're eating foods that are non-productive.
You know, there's just hearing, again, seems like I keep saying the same phrase, but hearing you say this, it reminded me when I go out to lunch with someone, you know, and if they're ordering first, in some ways, they're actually setting the tone.
Yes.
Right? If they say, well, I'll have the salad with the salmon grilled, you know, okay, then that's what I'll do that. I might have really wanted French fries that day, but I'll say, no, I'll do, that sounds good. I'll do a salad with salmon too.
Leaders are influencers.
Yeah, so thinking about how we want to do that. So other than food, is there anything else that leaders can be doing in the office that can help create more of a healthy office environment?
Positive messaging. I love positive messaging. I love rah-rah. You know, I love that part. I think leaders can spend more time giving praise. I think praise should be given all the time, nonstop. Praise needs to be a couple things, though. Okay. Praise often. Okay. I mean, often.
Okay.
My daughter goes to a cute little school and they give her salutes.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cute? And after 10 salutes, she gets a reward. And
nice.
Praise often. And her salute doesn't say you did great. Praise needs to be very specific. So you praise often, be very specific and sincere.
Yep.
It needs to be sincere and it needs to be done in public. If I was in the office, I would be praising, I would be sincere, I would be, it'd be public, other members would hear it. I'd love to say, Brandon, I love absolutely the way that you do your podcast. You're fun, you're silly, you're real, you do an amazing job. Thank you for being part of our team.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Can you say that again?
Right? So that, to me, a culture of positivity is positively contagious.
I think that's beautiful.
And if you teach your culture to praise others, that's where that's the best part.
You know, and so much of what we talked about here today is not hard in that it's not rocket science, but it does require intentionality.
Correct.
And some discipline.
Yes.
I think that's the other piece too. It goes back to the word consistency you used.
Yes.
And so people listening to this right now want to praise often. They're not praising often. I can almost assure you they're not. Because their time is so precious and they're not making it a priority. So it's not hard. It just requires, getting up at 4:15 in the morning and one step, and eventually it's 5 times a week, and just like praising 5 times a week. It's just building up that muscle and that momentum with a combination of kind of intentionality and discipline.
Mark Twain said it best.
I love Mark Twain quotes.
I don't. You love
I'm
him?
excited. I'm ready. Go.
He said, "I can go 2 months on a good compliment." I can go 2 months on a good compliment.
I love that.
Don't you love that?
I have heard that before, but I've forgotten it. I now remember it.
I truly believe that the number one leadership principle, and this is how I run my company, is I lead with love.
Yeah.
Leadership should come from love instead of harsh and punitive and let's get stuff done and da-da-da-da. And when you truly lead with love as your first thing, it would changes everything about your team. And if you truly love your team and you truly love your workplace, you're going to provide that loving environment. What's more loving than healthy food that makes you feel good and beautiful compliments that you can live on for 2 months?
I love it.
That's an environment for
What a great way
amazing.
to summarize everything we talked about. Now, you know, I ask every one of my guests this question. I asked you this before. I'm going to ask you again, so you have to give a different answer. What's one life hack you have for us today to help us live our life more free from dysfunction? So that could be anything personal, professional, just one life hack. One simple thing that we could start doing tomorrow.
So I know what mine was last time, but this time I would have to say, since we're talking about workplace and being a leader, is that you get to choose if you want to be an example or if you want to be a warning.
Nice. Nice.
You will only be one. So choose wisely.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I love that. And I would also argue that if you don't choose, you're more likely to be the warning.
Correct.
Yeah. Beautiful. Jacynta?
Yes?
You're a gift.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was phenomenal. If people want to learn more about you, follow you, where can they go?
I'm pretty much everywhere social media is. So Instagram is Sparkle a New You.
Sparkle a New You.
Then we have that on Facebook page as well, and then on Twitter as well. And you can find me in Roswell.
And Sparkle Wellness.
Sparkle Wellness. We shortened the name.
Okay. So
Sparkle a New You is the original. We shortened it to Sparkle Wellness. But some of my social media stuff is not been converted.
And if they were looking for you, it's Jacynta, Jacynta.
Yes.
And then Harb, Harb.
Yes. So
Beautiful.
I would love to come to their office. I'd love to talk to them. I would love to just spread my sparkle wherever I could go.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Of course, continue our watching every week and continue the fight against dysfunction, both workplace dysfunction, personal dysfunction, any of that stuff that kind of gets in our way. Watch us on Facebook Live every week when we drop a new show. And if you're not listening on iTunes, you should totally subscribe. What's keeping you? And if you are subscribing, please rate and review the show. That's how we get new listeners and new folks joining our tribe to make the world just a little bit healthier, one day at a time. So until our next show, have a great week and an awesome life.